Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what your team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the Skol gang. Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care. Skol to the bowl. Whole lot of Skol gang on this one. Yeah. Hey. Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what your team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the Skol gang. Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care. Skol to the bowl. Whole lot of Skol gang on this one. Yeah. Hey. Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what your team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the Skol gang. Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang, Skol gang. Skol on the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Purple and SKOL'd Media. It is your boy SK, as always. I know it's been a while since you've seen my face, but I'm back. You know, we're getting into the groove of football season now. I had to do my family thing for the slow time of the year, but I'm back. I'm here weekly. I'm here daily. It is officially football season. Today is the day of the Hall of Fame game. I know a lot of you guys are tapped in, even though the Minnesota Vikings aren't playing, but it's NFL football. I know we're all excited for that. We get to see a little bit of Zach Wilson, and we get to see a former Minnesota Viking third-round pick, Kellen Mond, make the start for the Cleveland Browns. So I know a lot of you guys, I'm not going to say a lot, but I know some of you guys may be interested in watching that. And I know if we see Kellen Mond go out there and perform, half of the fan base is going to say, we should have kept Kellen Mond. Why didn't we keep Kellen Mond and develop him? We spent a third-round pick on him. Why not? But we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. But we're going to talk about Vikings today. What's up, Sodak Kid? As we always do, Vikings. But what's up, Sodak Kid? Thank you for tapping in. Everybody else, thank you for tapping in. Hit that subscribe button. I know it takes a while for people to filter in this thing. It is early. I know a lot of you are getting off of work too. Everybody from Facebook that's tapping in, appreciate you. Hit that follow button on Purple and SKOL'd Media. And we're going to talk some Vikings training camp. Like I said earlier, it's been a while since I've been on and actually done a solo show. It's been a really long time since I've been on here and done a solo show. So I miss it. I miss sitting up here and chopping it up. Vikings talk with you guys, and that's what we're going to do today. What's up, Justin Purple and Gold for Days? Make sure you hit that subscribe button for Justin Purple and Gold for Days. My guy, Mr. Draft, Mr. Mock Draft, Bob Swede, thank you for tapping in. All my YouTube people tapping in, I appreciate it. But yeah, a lot of things going on. Before I get into the training camp talk, real quickly, we do have a live event going on the night before season opener, Skol Fest 2023, Volume 1. This is the first. You're going to want to be there to witness history. We're doing giveaways, and I got to tell you guys, we have some giveaways. It's not no little trinkets and shit like that. We're giving some shit away. You're going to want to be there in person. You can only win if you're in person at the live event, so I hope a lot of you guys can make it. I know most of you are out of state. I'm out of state myself. I'm flying in from California. I know Rap's flying in from North Carolina. Dave's flying in. We got a lot of people flying in that weekend for the season opener, so that's going to be really fun. If you want to come out and just party with us, have a couple of drinks, feel free. Stop by. It is at Northeast Palace in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is September 9th, 5 p.m. Central Time. Make sure to tap in. If you're not there in person, tap in live here on Purple and SKOL'd Media. It's going to be the whole crew. We're going to have a nice, fun time. We're going to be a little tipsy, too, so we're going to get a little crazy. get a little crazy. But let's get to the training camp talk, guys. I'm going to review a couple things that I wasn't really here for to go into detail with, but I'm not going to spend too much time on certain things. First thing I wanted to touch on is the Kirk Cousins Netflix special. And again, I'm only going to spend about 5 minutes on this. Feel free to tap in, you guys, and let me know how you felt about that Netflix special. But just like I said before it came out, and I think I did a show with Mike and Rap. I told him, I said, this show is going to earn Kirk Cousins some fans, whether that's his personality, whether that's him laying it all on the line for his teammates, whether that be his body, whether that be him just taking the brunt of a loss, a playoff loss, which you can throw, that last play where he checks down to TJ Hawkinson and blame him for the loss. But again, the defense gave up 31 points to Daniel Jones. So that's the conversation within itself. But I felt like this show would earn Kirk Cousins some fans outside of the Minnesota fan base. And that's exactly what it did. And I believe it's given Kirk Cousins not all the respect that he's deserved, but it's giving him the respect, or it's starting to go the way of giving Kirk Cousins the proper respect that he's earned for quite a while now. Now, we can sit here and we can talk about wins and losses. We can talk about playoff record, whatever we want to bring up. At the end of the day, Kirk Cousins is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He is a top 10 quarterback in the league. And it showed in the top 100 players, NFL Network, voted on by his peers, by the players, and Kirk Cousins was voted at number 42, the highest of his career. And it may be a coincidence that he's won the most games of his career, going 13-4 last year. Now, that probably helped out a lot with his ranking, but with him being rated ahead of the likes of Aaron Rodgers, of a young guy like Trevor Lawrence, which a lot of people, maybe you can include Colin Cowherd, who's really high on, which I like Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think he's as good of a quarterback as Kirk Cousins just yet. Will he be? I think he will, but not just yet. But Kirk Cousins rated in the top 50 of the top 100 NFL players voted on by the players, tells you right there that a lot of these fans and Twitter trolls, whatever you want to call them, national media pundits that's on ESPN and Fox Sports 1. And I can sit here and I can rattle down a list of names that have their own radio show that just continue to bash Kirk Cousins day in and day out. Well, now we're hearing it straight from his peers, and they're rating him number 42 in the entire NFL. I'm glad to see Kirk Cousins is actually getting the respect that he deserves. And I know half of you guys are probably frowning at your phone right now or your computer screen or wherever you're watching. Kirk Cousins is a top 50 player in the NFL. He's a top 10 quarterback. And according to these ratings, he's number 6. He's right outside the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now. And that's according to the players that play against him and play with him. So, again, you love to see it. Kirk Cousins, the quirky, nerdy guy, finally getting a little respect, rated at number 42 in the top 100 NFL players. And just for shits and giggles, I wanted to do a little 2023 season projection for Kirk Cousins, what his stat line may look like. So last year he threw for over 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. That was the first year in the Kevin O'Connell offense. An offense that he's familiar with, but not necessarily fully comfortable as he's going to be in year 2 of this offense. He's done the John D. Filippo where we just slung the ball all around the field, which obviously wasn't very beneficial for us. But and then moved on to the Kubiak system and so on. So now year 2 in the same system. It's been a while for Kirk Cousins. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time he's in the same offense since I think his second or third year in Washington. So it's been a while for Kirk Cousins being in the same offense and having that consistency. So I think Kirk is going to have a really good year. Is he going to throw for 5,000 yards? No, he's going to throw for just under 5,000 yards. I have him throwing for just over 4,800 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. So very similar to last year, one less interception, a few more touchdowns. I do also think that we're not necessarily going to rely on the run so much. We're going to sling the ball around a little more. But there is going to be those games where we're going to have to sit there and we're going to be handing it off to Alexander Madison and we're going to be pounding the rock. There's going to be games where we're going to be up by multiple touchdowns this season. That's just my inner feeling. That's my prediction. We aren't going to have 11 one-score games this season. We aren't. There's going to be some games that we lose really close, and there's going to be some games that we blow out some teams. And I honestly feel that way. We are not going to have another season where we have so many close games week in and week out where we're biting our nails. There's going to be some blowouts this year, and they're going to be in our favor. And that goes hand in hand with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, and ultimately this whole offense outside of Jordan Addison getting another offseason in this offense. And on top of that, you have a defensive coordinator in Brian Flores coming in, which we were, the 29th, 30th ranked overall defense last year, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to improve. I know we lost Kendricks. I know we lost to Darius Smith. I know we lost Patrick Peterson. We lost some hitters. We lost Dalvin Tomlinson. We lost some hitters on the defense. But my confidence in Brian Flores and his defense and how he runs his defense and the aggressiveness of this defense, I think that's going to pay dividends for this team. And it's going to pay off in the long term. And we're going to have some games where we're going to blow out teams. There's not going to be a whole lot of close games. I can promise you that. So I have Kirk Cousins throwing for 4,800 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That's kind of my projection on Kirk Cousins this year. So now that brings me to the Danielle Hunter deal. We got it done. We don't have to worry about it this offseason. We pretty much kicked the can down the road, just like we like to do with a lot of these players' contracts. 2 void years that carry $14 million, or is it $14.9 million in dead cap in 2024. I'm not sure exactly how much is carried over to 2025. But again, 1-year deal worth in upwards of $20 million, $10 million base salary, $1.5 million game bonus, and $5.5 million signing bonus. So again, $17 million straight up if he plays all 17 games. It's up to $3 million in incentives depending on what his sack total is like. And if I'm being honest, I'm not opposed to the deal. I don't like kicking a can down the road too often. Look, rap tapping in. Just say it, SK Kirko for MVP. Hey, man, we're not there yet. We are not there yet. But you might be up to something, rap. Might be up to something. But again, $5.5 million signing bonus. Like I said, I really like this deal. If we're able to get the production out of Danielle Hunter and how this deal is set up, he's got to play those 17. I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting him to play every single game. There's going to be a game he's probably going to miss, game or two. It's just the NFL nowadays. But it kind of forces him to, look, if you get injured, we're not tied to you. You're not going to get this full salary. So $10 million in base again, $1.5 million per game to $5.5 million salary bonus or signing bonus. I'm sorry. And then 14.9 in dead in 2024. It allows the Vikings to return a premier pass rusher and then being able to recoup him at the end of the year. So again, it's a prove it deal. A 1-year prove it deal. You say, Danielle, go out there, show me what you got. Give me 10 sacks. And let's be real. If we start this season off and it goes all bad, injuries happen, or it's just not our year. Things aren't going our way. Records looking really bad. And we go into that trading deadline and we're a 2-6 football team. Then you're looking at getting these players off and getting what you can. So Danielle Hunter's the type of player, if you're going into week 8, which I believe is the trade deadline, week 9, and he has 7, 8, 9 sacks, which is possible for Danielle Hunter in the first half of the season. We've seen it done before. He will be a trade asset, a huge trade asset to where you can grab at least a second-round pick in return. Because let's be real, if you're going to trade Danielle Hunter right before training camp, the writing's kind of on the wall. Danielle Hunter doesn't want to play under the contract you have him under, which was $5.5 million this year. He wasn't going to play under it. He'll hold out. You were in a position where teams were offering you chump change. You're getting offered a 6th round pick, 5th round pick. And if we're sitting here really asking ourselves, is Danielle Hunter worth a 5th or 6th round pick? No, he's not. I'd rather pay the guy and keep him around for another year. So you're in a position to where if you don't have a very good half of the year, you can trade him and his trade value will go up. His trade value will go up in the middle of the season. Now, I'm not saying go out there and trade Danielle Hunter at the trade deadline, but it gives you multiple options. If this season doesn't seem like it's working out and doesn't work out early on to where you have the option at the trade deadline to get him off for a day one pick, you do it. You do it. If the season's going well, you have a premier pass rusher who Brian Flores already stated, Danielle Hunter is going to be moving forward. We're not going to be dropping him in coverage. Whether that's us putting him down in a 3-point stance again, whether that's us standing him up on the edge and as a 3-4 outside linebacker, he's going to be rushing the passer. And that's what he needs to be doing. We don't need to see any of Danielle Hunter in coverage. Plain and simple. I don't want to see any of it. So we're not going to see that. We can trust Danielle Hunter's production in the hands of Brian Flores, but it really rests on his health, and it rests on the success of this team in the first half of the season. That's what the future of Danielle Hunter being on the Minnesota Vikings rests on. Because I guarantee you, if the Minnesota Vikings come out and we don't look good and we have a bad record going into that trade deadline, it looks like we're not going to make the playoffs, Danielle Hunter is out of here. He's out of here. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So that brings me to my last segment. Again, guys, thank you for tapping in. Let me get to some of these comments, man. I know I've been ignoring y'all. I know we have the night practice coming up. I know some of you are going to be there in attendance in person. I unfortunately can't. I'm in California, but if I was in Minnesota, best believe I'd be there. So that should be fun. I don't think they're going live with it on Facebook or YouTube. You'll probably be able to catch the highlights on Twitter or on Facebook afterwards. So tap in for that. Again, the Hall of Fame game going on in about 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes. So I know you guys are tapped in for that. So we'll be around for about 15, 20 more minutes. I got this last segment I'm going to tap in. Like I said, my guy Rap tapping in. You said 4,800 for Kirk. Damn. Hey, look, he threw for over 4,500 yards last year in this offense. You have another offseason under his belt to be that much more comfortable in this offense. It looks like him and Justin Jefferson's chemistry is just out of this world right now. Just ridiculous. And it shows, prime example, this was a big highlight we posted on the Purple and Skull media page on Facebook, is the out route by Justin Jefferson against Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy had great coverage on that route. It was a great throw. It was a great route. Byron Murphy just played great defense. The only difference was that Justin Jefferson was smart enough, was a good enough route runner, knew what he needed to do to come back to the ball and kind of cut that route off to where it got Byron Murphy off his back and gave him enough room to bring in that pass. But also Kirk for throwing it where it needed to be. Now, whether he ran that out route straight to the sidelines like you're usually supposed to, or like it's designed, it was going to get there. But even though Justin Jefferson came back for that route, that's the chemistry that him and Kirk have. Kirk is able to put it in a spot to where if I come back for the ball, it's still going to be catchable for Justin Jefferson. And that's exactly what it was. So that on top of being in the offense for another year, and I believe we're going to be more of a pass-centric offense more than we were last year. I think we're going to lean off the run a little bit outside of the times where we do have a big lead, which I said, again, it will happen this year. We're going to have multiple games where we're going to blow out teams. It's just what it is. It happens when you have an aggressive defense like we're going to have. We're going to be blitzing a lot. We're going to be playing a lot of man coverage. When you are aggressive as a defense like that, it can either sink. You're either sink or swim. Now, there's going to be those games where the defense is just clicking on all cylinders. All cylinders. There's offenses in the NFL. We were one of those offenses with a weak offensive line. Our offensive line has improved now to where we can get away going up against these man defenses like the Giants that blitz a lot, and we give ourselves a better chance to win. But there's still teams out there with lesser quarterbacks, with lesser offensive lines that can't handle an aggressive defense that plays man defense on the outside with big, strong corners. There's offenses that can't handle that. So there's going to be games where it's just going to be a snowball effect for these offenses that we play against. And we've seen it firsthand as Minnesota Vikings fans, not necessarily with the Kirk Cousins era, maybe here and there you can point out a couple games, but you can simply look back at the Kirk Cousins era. I mean, not the just say Kirk Cousins, the Christian Ponder era. Can't believe I got those two mixed up. Look back at the Christian Ponder era to where when you take that runaway and you're an aggressive defense, you play man up on the outside against receivers that aren't very strong, then it's going to be a snowball effect where you can't put points up on the board. And if you're going up against a team that has a powerful offense like we do, that has the playmakers like Justin Jefferson, like TJ Hawkinson, like possibly a Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne coming into his own, Alexander Madison, who I know what he's capable of. So you have multiple playmakers in this offense with an aggressive, big, strong defense. And that is going to give you opportunities for blowouts. And that's going to give opportunities for Alexander Madison to have 100-plus yard games. But, again, like I said, we're going to be a pass-centric offense. Once we start that game, it's go. We're going to have drives where 10 out of the 11 plays are all pass plays. There's going to be drives like that. So you're going to get more pass attempts from Kirk Cousins. You're going to get a more comfortable Kirk Cousins in this offense. And you're going to have more playmakers in this offense as far as the passing game goes. Remember, we only had TJ Hawkinson for half the season last year. You're adding a better KJ. Again, another offseason of hard work. We all know how hard KJ Osborne works. And year in and year out, he comes into the season that much better than he was the season before. You have a Jordan Addison who is considered the best route runner in this draft, in the entire 2023 draft, coming to your team to pair alongside Justin Jefferson. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Kirk Cousins to reach 4,800 yards or more. Believe me. Bob Swede, 5,000 in MVP. Book it. Take it to the bank. Take it to the sports book. Bet the mortgage. Too Evil to Hope, what's going on? Welcome in. Gary Balster, welcome in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. My guy Tyler Bean tapping in. Haven't talked to you in a minute, my guy. Tyler says defense will be key to the Vikings season. Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Osborne going to produce, and Madison, a.k.a. certified dog in the backfield. Again, guys, I know some fans were looking at the Dalvin Cook as a loss. There's certain things we're going to miss with Dalvin Cook. I'll tell you that right now. We're going to miss the home run threat in the run game from Dalvin Cook. We're not necessarily going to have that unless Kene Nwangwu somehow comes into his own as a third down back. Alexander Madison isn't the guy that's going to give you those 75-yard touchdown runs, 60-yard touchdown runs. He's going to hit you for a 40-yard or 45-yarder here and there, but he's not that guy that's going to give you the long, explosive runs. That's what we're going to miss from Dalvin Cook. But what we're going to get back in return with Alexander Madison is we're going to get a more consistent running game. I can't tell you how many times, and some of you may have noticed this, Dalvin Cook losing yardage. losing yardage, losing yardage. And again, he would hit you for a 40, 50, 60-yard touchdown later on in the game. But as you're going through the ebbs and flows of an offense and you're putting drives together, those negative runs kill drives. A 2-3 yard run compared to a -1, -2 yard run is a big difference, guys. I don't think people realize how big of a difference that is and how much that can kill a drive. A -2 yard run might as well be a false start, might as well be a holding. Holding's going to bring you back 5 yards. It's going to give you a replay down. So those negative runs, you're not going to see as much. Now, I can't completely blame that on Dalvin Cook. You got to put some of the blame on the interior offensive line for that. I'm not going to blame the tackles, Darisaw and O'Neal, but the interior offensive line needs to get better with that. This isn't all Dalvin Cook's fault. But again, I think you're going to get a more consistent running game with Alexander Mattison over Dalvin Cook. So you're trading that home run ability, that home run threat with consistency. So you can take it how you want to take it, but I don't think this offense skips a beat, and I actually think this offense is better. And that's not a direct reason for Dalvin Cook being gone or why our offense is going to be better. I just think, again, I keep repeating this, Kirk Cousins in the same offense for the second year in a row. Justin Jefferson and Kirk gaining that chemistry with another offseason together in the same offense. Alexander Mattison with a consistent run game. TJ Hawkinson with an actual offseason with the Minnesota Vikings and a full season with the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Addison, young, great route runner, speedy. KJ Osborne getting better. So I think this offense is going to be better than last year, even without Dalvin Cook, believe it or not. Yeah, interesting to see Mon tonight. We can talk about that a little bit. Interesting to see Mon tonight. I hope he looks good, man. I really do. I wish nothing ill will towards the guy. But it's looking more and more like our guy Mike Zimmer was right. It's looking more and more like our guy Mike Zimmer is right. He said, why do I need to – I see him enough in practice. He looks terrible. And every time we got to see him in an actual game, whether that be preseason or not, he looked terrible. So I hope he's improved. Cleveland is obviously more of a run-centric offense. So he's going to be turning around and handing it off a whole lot and doing a whole lot of play action. So I'll be interested to see that. I'm more interested in seeing Zach Wilson, if I'm being completely honest. Me and Rap's guy. I know Rap's tapped in right now. I'm interested in seeing what Zach Wilson's going to do. I actually think he's going to have a really good game tonight. And having him sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year or two, I think he's going to benefit from that tremendously. I think it's going to turn out good for his career. I don't think he's going to be some Pro Bowl quarterback eventually or, all-pro quarterback by any means. But being able to sit behind a guy like Aaron Rodgers, where I'm not saying he has the same arm talent, but they have a lot of similarities as far as the footwork goes and throwing off balance and things like that. So I think sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, you're going to see a lot of improvements from Zach Wilson. Whether you see it tonight or a couple preseason games down the line, I think you're going to see a better Zach Wilson. And I think that goes hand in hand with being behind Aaron Rodgers and learning from a veteran quarterback. I mean, he was learning from Mike White. Like, let's be real, So, okay, I'm lagging. Let's get to my final segment, y'all. So these are my concerns going into the 2023 season. I think every fan has concerns going into every season, and it's always usually injuries or is this offense or defensive scheme going to work? Is our quarterback really the guy? There's always concerns from fans leading into the season, and these are my top 4. And I'll start with my 4th leading up to my top concern. My number 4 concern is the health and production of second-year guys. No second-year guys being Kwesi's first draft picks. Andrew Booth, Lewis Seen, Caleb Evans, who else? Ed Ingram. I need to see something from these guys. Now, granted, I know Booth and Seen were both injured last year. Booth, I'm starting to get on the side of I'm sick of him being injured because he got injured again this past week at training camp, had to be walked off the field. I don't know what it is, but this season's do or die for Andrew Booth. After this, I'm washing my hands of Andrew Booth. I'm sorry. But we got to see something from these second-year guys. We got to get Lewis Seen healthy, and we got to see him on the field, on the defense. I don't want to see Lewis Seen on special teams all season. I need to see him in this defensive lineup. I need to see what he can do. Because if he's not the guy, we got to say, look, Harrison Smith's getting towards the end of his career. Cam Bynum, in my opinion, isn't necessarily that guy. Josh Metellus is starting to come into his own. So that's a guy to look out for. So the Lewis Seen thing is interesting to me. I want to see him in this defensive lineup because he was our first-round pick from last year. You spend a first-round pick on a guy, you expect him to play the position you draft him at. We drafted him to play safety. I don't want to see him as a gunner on special teams. The problem with that is we got a very deep safety room. Obviously, Harrison Smith is in, a tier of his own. Starting, we know he's solidified. But then you got a guy in Cam Bynum who's considered the starter right now, who started the past 2 seasons. And then you got a guy in Josh Metellus who has worked his way up through special teams. And we've been hearing nothing but good things about Josh Metellus this entire camp, to where he's smart. He's a hitter. He knows where to be. He's doing everything right. He's calling the signals. He's doing everything. And then you got Jay Ward, obviously the rookie. I don't think he's going to take any reps away from Lewis Seen. But then you got Lewis Seen, Josh Metellus, Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith. Cam Bynum, who, again, started the last 2 years, and we don't really know what's going to happen with that. That Cam Bynum thing's interesting to me. So are you going to pair Lewis Seen next to Harrison Smith? Are you going to be running a lot of 3 safety looks, to which there's been reports out there has been 3 safety looks, but the 3 safety looks have been with Josh Metellus. So I got to see something from Lewis Seen. I got to see something from Andrew Booth. And most importantly from Andrew Booth, I just need to see health. I just want to see you dress out, bro. Like, at this point, I would be ecstatic to see Andrew Booth on the special teams every single week, just to know that he's healthy. Just to know that he's not banged up like he always is. So we got to see something from these guys. Ed Ingram, obviously, we need to see more production from him. There's multiple times where he stepped on Kirk's foot. There was little flashes here and there, though. I'm tired of hearing people say Ed Ingram was just every second of every snap was just absolutely atrocious. Throughout the season, Ed Ingram got better. He didn't become great. He didn't become a good guard just yet, but he got better, and that's all you can ask from a rookie. Now, as you're stepping into year 2 with Ed Ingram, you got to see a little more than just getting better. I got to see a good right guard. I got to see a competent right guard from Ed Ingram. So another guy you need to see more production out of. Caleb Evans, that's more on the health side. We've seen him produce when he is healthy. Again, the problem is that he can't stay healthy, whether that be concussions. I think he had either a hamstring or like an ankle issue last season that held him out for a game or so. But he's got to find a way to stay healthy. So those are 4 guys just from last year's draft, Kwesi's first draft, that we need to see production out of. And if we don't see production out of these guys, and the draft picks that we picked up this year with Jordan Addison and God, man, so many guys slip in my mind right now. Jordan Addison, we got Ivan Pace, who's an undrafted free agent. Jacqueline Roy, Jay Ward. I mean, I can go down the list. We got to see some production out of these draft picks eventually. And if we don't, we're going to start looking at Kwesi and saying, well, are you the right guy for the job? And that's a real question right now because we haven't seen anything from his draft picks yet. And the moves that he's made have been extremely questionable. Outside of the TJ Hawkinson trade, which was great. I'm completely fine with giving up a second-round pick for TJ Hawkinson because you're probably going to spend at least a second, third-round pick on a tight end anyways. So go out there, get a top 5 tight end while you're at it, and give up a second-round pick. But the dealing within the division with the Lions in last draft, moving back 20 spots, not getting a first-round pick in return, trading back with the Packers, it just whether it works out or not, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I don't want to take the risk of giving a division rival an opportunity to get a superstar, even if it's a good trade at the time. Even if it's a good trade at the time and something happens to where this player that they got from our trade, even if it was them moving back 10, 20 spots and they happen to grab the guy that we gave the pickup for and he becomes some all-pro superstar, then you're sitting there like, fuck, man. Like, so it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But I got to see production. I got to see health from these draft picks in the first 2 years of Kwesi's tenure for me to stop thinking about putting Kwesi on the hot seat. Because after this season, if those guys don't produce, especially this season too, then Kwesi's seat is getting warm. It's getting warm. So that would be my number 4. Number 3, concern of 2023, the interior offensive line. And it seems like this is the same conversation we have every single year. Every year, we have the same conversation. And it seems that's what our season always comes down to, is interior offensive line. We cannot properly protect the quarterback. Last year, it was our defense, obviously. But, again, you can go to that last play where you can say Kirk Cousins checked down. Well, at the time of him checking down, why he checked down is because his interior offensive line didn't hold up and he had Dexter Lawrence in his face. Now, we can judge him whether he checked down or not, but if our interior offensive line was able to hold up just for a half a second longer, there could have been another option for Kirk Cousins there. It would at least give him a little more time to read the field. But, again, it goes back to every single year, whether it's the last game of the season where we don't make the playoffs, or whether it's we make the playoffs and we get out of the first round, or we, make it to the second round. It always comes down to our offensive line not being good enough or not being strong enough on the interior, or the trenches were not, nasty enough or have enough attitude. That needs to change. We didn't do much to improve that this offseason at all. So we're relying on guys coming back, having a rapport with the rest of the offensive line, and hopefully developing that nastiness and that strong, front interior offensive line in the trenches. So that's my number 3 concern, interior offensive line. Number 2, defensive personnel, and specifically personnel. I have full confidence in the Brian Flores scheme. I'm ready for this defense to be full-on aggressive, hair on fire, getting after it, rushing the quarterback, manning up on the outside, big, strong corners. I'm ready for that. What I'm worried about is who we're running out there. The cornerback position worries me. Now, Rap, I know it's your guy, Byron Murphy. I know that's who you called for in the offseason. I'm not fully sold on Byron Murphy. I'm not. I need to see some more out of him. For me to consider him a number 1 franchise cornerback on my football team, I need to see a little more. I need to see cornerback 1 vibes. I haven't been seeing it. He's been good. Don't get me wrong. He's been a good cornerback. But for me to feel like, okay, that's their best receiver, go lock him down. I can't do that with Byron Murphy. I can't. Caleb Evans, we don't know what's going on with his injury prone, the concussions. Who knows what's going on with the Caleb Evans? If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be a good corner. Linebackers. We're all high on Brian Asamoah, but do we really know? And this is the pessimist me talking right now. This isn't me saying this is what's going to happen or anything. I'm thinking worst case scenario at this point. We don't know if Brian Asamoah is going to work out. We've seen the speed, we've seen the athleticism, we've seen all that, but that's not everything that you need to be a linebacker in the NFL. You have to have it up here too. You can be as fast as you want. You can be athletic as you want. But if you don't know where you need to be for that play, it does you no good. If you over pursue with your speed for that play, it does you no good. So we don't necessarily know what Brian Asamoah is going to turn into. Defensive line. Marcus Davenport. He had a half sack last season. Now, granted, you can look at, Pro Football Focus. They're talking about, he has the highest, winning pass rusher rate, whatever you want to call it, beating his man. But it's not accounting for sacks. Now, granted, he was banged up and he was injured last year. I believe he missed half the season. But we're paying him for, hopefully, he produces. Now, pairing him with Danielle Hunter, that's great, who we hope he stays healthy. But also the interior defensive line as well. Big fan of Harrison Phillips. Who are you pairing next to Harrison Phillips? Tonga, which we've seen Tonga here and there. He's been cool. But are we really that confident that Tonga is going to be that guy to fill that gap, to be that 3-tech? And not necessarily that 3-tech, but that nose? I don't know. Is Harrison Phillips going to be the nose? I don't know. I don't know if that's his proper position. I don't know if he has the heftiness of that. Now, again, Harrison, my guy. I believe you can do anything. But I also like a little extra meat for my nose tackle. So there's a lot of questions up in the air for this defense and this defensive personnel. The scheme, I believe in. The personnel, I'm not sold on yet. And my number one concern going into the 2023 season for the Minnesota Vikings, that is the health of Brian O'Neill. I feel like this has been swept under the rug. We haven't been talking about this enough with Brian O'Neill. A torn Achilles is not just he'll be fine next year. It's not that simple. A torn Achilles is a serious injury, guys. He's just now getting back on the field, doing on-field with pads, workouts, but he's not doing any contact right now. So that's a big question mark for me. Is he going to be ready for week one? If he's not ready for week one, who's going to play right tackle? Is it Ali Udo? And we all know how confident we are in Ali Udo. Now, granted, he was a tackle that we tried to transition to guard. Now he's back at his natural position at right tackle. But he's not Brian O'Neill. If we want any chance of going anywhere, doing anything this season, we need Brian O'Neill out there, and we need Brian O'Neill at 100%. And him coming off an Achilles injury late in the season is a little scary to me. A little scary. I don't know, man. We've seen it before with Phil Lodeholt. We've seen it. Didn't come back the same. So I'm worried about the Brian O'Neill rehab. I don't know if he's going to come back as the same player. I'm hoping. I'm kind of banking he will, but I'm still extremely concerned about it because that is no just injury to scoff out and he'll be fine. He'll be ready week one. No issues, no problem. Same player's back. I don't know. It's kind of iffy to me. It's kind of scary to me. So that's my number one concern going into the 2023 season. Brian O'Neill's Achilles injury. So that wraps it up for my last segment. Let me get to some of your guys' comments. I know I've just been in the zone talking my shit. But let me see. Let me scroll up a little bit. Are you guys excited about Wentz joining the Vikings? Wentz is not joining the Vikings too, even though Wentz gang. Oh man, do we have a Wentz gang in here? Please, let's not get a Wentz gang going. Let's not do that, guy. Justin says, expect nothing from Booth. Okay, so when I bring up Booth, it's not me expecting anything from Booth. It's me hoping to get something from Booth for Kwesi's sake. Because if Booth doesn't work out, if this injury thing doesn't, pan out for him, then we're looking at 3-4 other guys that Kwesi's kind of crossing his fingers and hope pan out from that draft class. So, yeah, if you get anything, it's found money, right? Rap, we pace game verified. Also, report out of camp. Ivan Pace, man. Ivan Pace looks like he's coming into his own. I know we had some scouts that run other channels on YouTube that weren't high on Pace, whether that was work ethic or whatever it may have been, size. But it looks like Ivan Pace is kind of turning some heads at training camp. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a report out to where he was getting some run with the twos. He was getting run with the twos, and I think he got run with the ones as well. I may be mistaken, but Ivan Pace getting some looks, at least with the number twos. So that's definitely a good look from an undrafted free agent. And again, you also got a guy in Andre Carter, who I believe he's on IR right now. So we're still waiting for him to come back. That's a pure pass rusher. He needs to put a little bit more weight on his bones, but he's going to fit into this defense perfectly. Will he be productive immediately? I'm not too sure on that, but I think he's going to be a really good fit for this Brian Flores defense. I really do. Gary says, Cena will be a Pro Bowler, in my opinion. Not saying this year, obviously. I could see that, but I got to see him on the field this year is the thing. I got to see him on the field. Like, you don't spend a first-round pick on somebody and don't see him play his position for the first 2 years. It doesn't happen. I mean, it happened with Trey Waynes, but that was under the guidance of Mike Zimmer and how he's so, wants to bring you up through special teams, not just going to put you as a starting corner regardless of how high he's drafted you. But if you draft a guy in the first round, you got to see what he's got. If he's healthy, you got to see him on the defense. Justin says, thoughts on Abraham Smith? That's the running back that we just signed from the XFL, if I'm not mistaken, right, Justin? If it is, I believe that's who Abraham Smith is. It's just it's a depth signing. I wouldn't read too far into it. Madison, he isn't going to play much, if any, during the preseason. He did get a little tweak a couple practices ago. Nothing serious, just a minor tweak. I don't think he was going to play too much in the preseason anyways. And I think this solidifies him not playing in the preseason at all. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, you might see him come in for a series or two for the first game, but outside of that, I don't think you'll be seeing Madison this preseason. And you also got to remember, this is more of a running back by committee now. So not only are we trying to protect Madison from getting banged up, we're also trying to protect whoever that number 2 running back is from getting banged up, whether that be Ty Chandler or whether that be Kane Nwangwu or whether that be Dwayne McBride. We're going to run a plethora of running backs out there. So the top 2 guys, it's going to be Madison, and then it's either going to be Nwangwu or Chandler. I think we're going to get a big dose of McBride in the preseason just to see, what he's capable of. And I think we're going to get a big dose of either Kane or Ty Chandler. And I'm leaning a little more of Ty Chandler just because how this committee is going to be panning out, in my opinion. And just a little foreshadowing, I got a bold prediction that's going to come in a future show before we have those final rosters out. But I have a little bit of a bold prediction with that. So, but yeah, no, I think it's just a depth signing. He'll get some run during the preseason, but I don't think he'll be on the 53-man roster. I don't even know if he'll be on the practice squad when it comes down to it. Said Pace will beat Asamoah. I don't know about that. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that, man. I actually haven't seen you come on our stream before yet, but I appreciate you coming on. This is, if you have before and I missed you, I'm sorry, but appreciate you tapping in and the support, man. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. We got some Score North bashing. Hey, I got love for Score North. I have nothing against Score North. I like Mackey. I like Judd. Nothing against those guys over there. They're pushing out content. Everybody has an opinion. I just know half of the fan base isn't a big fan of them. So I'll let you, spill your grievances to me. Since I was watching an episode of Score North during the Write That Down segment, was guested by a leg surgeon. He was 90% sure he was going to be good. I trust the surgeon take, but 100% agree with concern. Okay. Let me see. 5-0 common for you. Oh, so you're talking about 5 running backs common for me? What are you saying? 5-0 common for you? What do you mean by that, Justin? There you go, Bob Cheese. Adam. Okay, so here's the difference between Adam Thielen and the Lewis Cine situation. Adam Thielen was an undrafted free agent. He had to be brought up through special teams. You'll almost never see an undrafted free agent just go straight to the position they play and end up a starter. Now, Ivan Pace may be an exception to the rule this year. I don't think he'll become a starter, but he may be an exception to the rule to where he makes this roster as a middle linebacker, and it may be as the number 2 guy. But Adam Thielen was an undrafted free agent. That was the reason why he was brought up through special teams. But his talent and just how special he was just couldn't be denied. It shined through special teams. So that's what got him his position, as wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 when Diggs was here. So, yeah, what do you mean by that, Justin? Justin says 5-0 common for you. So I'm trying to think. Are you referring to the running back position? Is 5 running backs common? Is that what you're asking, Justin? Adam T19. Okay, Adam Thielen not on the field for years. Yeah, that was the difference, though. Like I said, that was the difference. Undrafted free agent and a first-round pick. When you invest a first-round pick into a guy, you want to see him on the field immediately. So, you heard sirens. 5-0. Oh, that's a 5. Okay, 5-0, Popo. Yeah, no, there was a little sirens in here. I live in San Bernardino, California, so it's kind of active out here. There's some race wars and stuff, but out here in sunny California. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I know the Hall of Fame game is coming up, and I know a lot of you guys are tuning in. I know some of you may be going to the night practice over there at TCO for the Vikings. That should be really fun. I'll be on the lookout for that most definitely. Again, I got to remind you guys every time I hop on here, we are having SKOL'd Fest 2023. It is active. You do not want to miss out on this event. It is September 9th, the night before the season opener in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Northeast Palace. We usually post the flyer up on our page. It'll be up on all our YouTube channels as well, so you'll be able to see it. You'll come across it on Facebook. I'll be posting it again on the Purple and Skull media page. We will be revealing the grand prize in about 2 weeks. So when we do our little giveaway there at the live event at Northeast Palace, you'll know what you're getting. So we got a few really big prizes that you guys are going to want to get in on. Again, it is September 9th, 5 p.m. Central Time at Northeast Palace. Myself, Rat, Justin Day, Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, Jamie and Casey from GG Sports. God, who else do we got coming in? My girl A. Marie's going to be there. We got, God, I know I'm missing somebody else too, but we got the whole crew there, man. So come have a drink with us. Enter yourself into the giveaway. For you to automatically get a free ticket into the giveaway, go ahead and get a ticket on Eventbrite. Again, I don't have the flyer in front of me. I'll have it later. But it has the QR code. All you do is scan that QR code, and it'll take you directly to the Eventbrite page, and you just get a ticket. It's free, guys. You don't have to pay anything. Grab your free ticket. That gets you a free entry into the grand prize, which we will be announcing in 2 weeks from today. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Come have fun with us, man. It's going to be a great time. And it's the first annual. So be here, witness history. It's going to be a great time. And we're a fun little group, man. We're a fun little group. So appreciate you guys tapping in. Everybody on Facebook, hit that follow button, hit that like button. Everybody on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. You don't understand how much a like or how far a like goes or how far a subscribe goes. And also hit that notification ring as well. Throughout the season, we will have exclusive content only on Purple and SKOL'd Media. That means Rap, Justin Day, Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk. We added Johnny Football, NFL Johnny today. GG Sports Talk, Mic'd Up Podcast. They're all going to be doing exclusive content only on Purple and SKOL'd Media that you can only find on Purple and SKOL'd Media. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and we will be live every single day throughout the season starting next week. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. Appreciate you for tapping in. Facebook, YouTube. It's always a great time. And enjoy the Hall of Fame game. Football is back, baby. Gotta love it. And as always, SKOL Vikings, Purple and SKOL'd Media in the house. It is your boy SK, and it's all love all the time.
SKOL'd to the bowl. Whole lot of SKOL gang on this one. Yeah. Hey. SKOL gang, SKOL gang, SKOL gang, SKOL gang, SKOL gang, SKOL gang, SKOL gang. SKOL all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what the team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the SKOL gang. SKOL gang.